All right, thank you all for joining us. Hopefully, all can hear me. It is September 6th. My gosh, 2022. We're here tonight to talk about a special event permit that was submitted to the town of Windermere. And typically, we don't really present these to the town itself as far as a Zoom meeting or do notifications, but this one's a little bit different. And the reason why is because it's a multi-day event. It's called a concert series. So we want to make sure that everybody had all the information relative to this event, understanding that we have several events during the fall season, and the adjacent neighbors are the ones that have to deal with the traffic, parking, and noise. So what we really want to do is get your feedback on, what are some of the issues that you have or may have, and then answer some of the questions relative to the event itself. Because I honestly, when I first heard concert series, I figured, okay, this is like a large event. It's a huge event. It's something that's more, should be at the Pines or a larger location. But after meeting with Red Rocket Studios and those that are involved in Light Orlando, I got the understanding that this was a much smaller, more town-friendly event. And they are here to answer any of your questions, but I want to go through the special event permit and some of the questions and concerns that people have raised in the past. So basically, they're looking for, and I'll allow them to do their company background and whatnot. But the nuts and bolts of it is a Monday through Friday event. It's open to the public. It is not a ticketed event. The times will be from 5:30 to 9 p.m. Again, our food trucks typically close around 9:30 at night. Each concert series will feature 4 to 5 schools, community and church choirs performing each night. And they'll close with a professional talent from Central Florida area. They did do this at the Orlando or Econ Park last year. And they believe, again, because this is more of a community-based event, and the benefactors of this event are more community-based. That's why they want to locate it within a community. They did try to have it from a Monday to a Saturday event, but we had scheduling conflicts, so it would be Monday through a Friday. The attendees are invited to learn more about local charitable organizations. We as a town do not select those charitable organizations, but they are serving those residents that are at greatest risk and donate to the charity of their choice through giving machines using QR codes. And again, I don't want to speak for the applicant, but what they do is they have like kiosks kind of like set up that explain what the charity is, and they'll have QR codes. Just go to the QR code and scan it and then make your donation. The children in attendance will receive a unique item that'll show their light at the event, and then 100% of the proceeds raised will go through the giving machine. From the giving machines will go to the identified charities. So, and Dorothy, just for let the record reflect that we do have all council members on, even though this is just a public input meeting. So we're just trying to gain public input from those that are going to be directly impacted or those from the residents, because this will be discussed at the town council meeting tomorrow. But basically what was explained to me, and you can see it in their special event permit, it's a 4-day event. They'll have a crew of 20, and they're looking between 300 and 400 people each night. When you have local schools and local charities or local choirs, like say either a church choir or a school choir, you're going to have the kids, you're going to have the family, you're going to have the friends, the grandparents, so on and so forth. So it's not something that they've expressed as something that's going to bring in like a food truck night, like thousands of people. It is something that would be restricted to about 300 to 400 people at max. I'll have the organizers comment on that. So parking really won't be an issue. It's during the week. It is not during a holiday break. And, they're not looking at major concessions or anything like that. And as well as we'll be probably demoing the community room that'll create more event space for them. If you had an area or an opportunity to take a look at the area that they're proposing to set up the stage would be, in option 1 would be where the community room is, and option 2 would be over here by the basketball courts, with the control booth being across from it. And they would actually have, again, a tent for the choir, the truck and crew, and restrooms similar to where we have the food truck night restrooms. So again, this is something that is during the week. It would be between 5 and 9 o'clock each night. And the intent is to bring in, again, those choirs from local schools, local churches, and hopefully be able to instill the holiday spirit in people and also raise some money for some local charities. And again, when I first heard concert series, the thought in my head was, oh my gosh, this is going to be something that the town cannot handle. But again, with the amount of numbers that they're talking about, between 300 and 400 people, this is something that we would see at a low attended farmers market, not a food truck event. And with that said, I can turn it over to either David or anybody that is here on behalf of Red Rocket Studios or Light Orlando, and if they can get additional comments or add anything that I've expressed from the town standpoint to where, based on what was submitted and based on what we discussed, we really don't see any conflicts, but unless we have some that are going to be brought on by the local neighbors in the surrounding area. But as far as noise, they're going to be falling within the noise ordinance. And as far as parking, they're going to be locating all of their equipment within the designated parking areas. And the stage, actually, they've offered the stage to the Holiday Hoopla, which is the weekend before. So the stage is just a truck, and that is part of the presentation that they had, where it just drives up and the stage just rolls out. So you're not going to hear banging or anything like that. And you can get a good feel for what the event is actually at with the background and the choirs and so on and so forth. So with that said, I'll turn it over to anybody that's representing Red Rocket Studios.
Yeah, hi Robert. Hi everybody. This is Rick Barranco. I'm the executive producer for Red Rocket Studios. Glad to be part of this great event. We have John Hubbard on the line as well. He's our president of our company. He felt this was important for him to be here as well. And then we also have Camille McCashland, which is part of the Akahan Foundation, the one that is kind of organizing this entire event. You can kind of read a little bit about them in the presentation. So obviously we are a full-fledged marketing event company located in Orlando. We've done events all over the world. We've worked with Akahan last year and produced this event, as you had mentioned, Robert, at Icon Orlando. And it was a great success, I would say. But as you guys know, as everybody knows, Orlando or Icon Park is very transient. So although the reason for this event was really about raising people's spirits during Christmas, and doing something nice for the community, make it a free concert, and let's raise money to the communities in need, right? So that's kind of the reason for it. And we felt like, man, Windermere is perfect. Small town. We have beautiful. We all live either in the area or around the area. It's a great community to give back to. So that's really the reason behind this. As far as noise go, the concert really is indicative of a concert choir. We have a lot of choirs that perform that night. A lot of star talent. We are very acclimated to noise levels and ordinances and things like that. So we will obviously monitor those. Again, last year it was just a really nice concert that we had as well. So, John, I don't know if you want to add anything about Red Rocket or anything like that, or did we lose John?
Hi, Tim. No, I was just trying to find my my mute button, so forgive me.
There we go. Perfect.
I think what's critical here is, and what's very interesting is that, the goal is for this to be a community event. Yeah. Hence why we're bringing it into the community. So I guess what I envision and what the leaders of this group envision, that it's going to be a lot of local performers as well. So as an example, so my daughter plays violin over at Bridgewater, and so I could see her group when they do their Christmas concert, instead of doing it in the auditorium, that they bring something like that here. It's a very short concert, very short part of it. But I guess the idea is that we're bringing in locals and giving them a venue that they wouldn't normally have, and making this a real community event as opposed to having it at Icon where we have a lot of transients. So, I would envision, I live in Keens Point. I know that's Windermere for the downtown folks.
Right.
So my business partner, David, who is probably on this call, I won't call him out, but
I am.
oh, there he is.
There
He
he
lives
is.
on Second, so he's the real deal. I'm kind of a Windermere guy, but it's not like we're coming from Jacksonville wanting to do an event in Windermere. It's really, we're local guys, and we're looking to do something really great for the community and have a venue that they can perform. And I think this will do a lot for the local businesses as well. So we're hoping that everybody else kind of sees that same vision and can share with that. And, we respect the fact that there's a lot of local folks there that are, trying to go to bed at a decent hour and so on as well. And obviously there's restrictions that are put in place there, and we want to be respectful for that. The goal is not to do this 1 year, but to do it multiple years. And so we can't do that if we're not good stewards of the noise level and if we're not working with the city to begin with. So anyway, I guess that's just my 2 cents, but I've seen what the foundation does and the good that it does in the community. And I'm really excited about what we could do right here in our backyard.
Absolutely. So I'm wanted to introduce Camille a little bit. She's kind of the leader of the Akahan Foundation, and she represents obviously Akahan as well as this event. So Camille, any thoughts on your end as far as,
Thanks, Rick, and John and David for representing us so well. We love working with Red Rocket. But yes, so Light Orlando or Akahan, we go by both names. We're excited to come into communities, get to know what's happening. As Robert mentioned, we do want to give back to the communities. Our founders do live in Windermere, I think is the appropriate term there as well.
Right.
And as do I. And so we want to come into the community, we want to make a difference, but we want to be respectful of the neighbors that are around. I do want to just add one thing that Robert mentioned. We do hope to bring in some food trucks each night. So maybe 2 to 3 food trucks each evening, different ones that do not compete with local restaurants that will be open during that time. We'll be very aware of that and make sure that that is okay. But we do want to bring in some food so that those that are attending can stay for a while, can kick back with their families, bring their lawn chairs, sit back and enjoy this full concert. And at the same time, get to know these different charities. Robert, you also mentioned that you do not get to select the charities. That is true. We do have to vet them through our system. However, we are open to hear any of your suggestions and to find out who it is that you guys give to and how we might be able to get involved with them and have them involved in this event as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
At that, I'd be interested to know of any questions that the community members have for us to help them in this decision.
Yeah.
Okay. And then thank you guys very much. And then did I misspeak as far as what I believe, or you believe the attendance would be on a nightly basis?
I would say you are right around that. As we mentioned, we'll be bringing in school choirs. And so with each one of those, we hope would come a parent or two. Last year, it was hard to gauge as to how many people were there because we were at Icon Park and so many of them were people that were kind of going by. We want to be someplace that there's organic traffic. We want people to come out and enjoy the concert beyond those that are just performing. So this will be our first year in this type of a setup, and we would certainly hope to get that 300 to 500 range there each evening.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And we will be blocking off brick main, similar to what we do for food trucks. So if they have the 3 food trucks, it would be located in front of Town Hall and onto the side or to the back.
Right.
And then in addition to that, just trying to get through some of the questions. With the stage, with the noise, will be amplified to the area towards, are the speakers going to be facing away from the homes, or is it something that you get the reverberation to the back as well.
Yeah, so I would say I gave two options for the stage setup. Obviously, without knowing if that building was totally going to be gone, but there's a beautiful area right between the two, not stoplights, the two park lights that are out there, that stage fits perfectly in. We can absolutely back that into where the existing building would have been or was. Absolutely. And what would happen is backstage would be in the tree area where the tents are. The speakers would blow out toward Main Street at that point, right? So obviously angling toward the buildings that are on that side and obviously the residents. The other option is we put it over on the basketball court side where it's on concrete, which is great. And it blows towards Town Hall and that way, toward Main Street and that kind of stuff. So no matter what, we're not blowing anything. When I say blowing, we're not shooting sound over near the Forest Street or really toward Fifth Avenue at all. It's more focused toward Town Hall or toward the buildings on Main Street, that kind of stuff.
Again, most of the comments and questions that we've received prior to the meeting were relative to noise pollution, meaning the noise. Light pollution, meaning, are you going to have these tall lights that are going to be able to light up the entire area? I know we have a lot of Windermere, so you're going to have some ambient lighting from the Christmas light or the holiday lights that we put up. And then also generator noise. Are you going to be having quiet generators, or are you going to just be having those loud generators that you see at construction sites?
Yeah, we have whisper generators that we use. In fact, last year, our generator sat right behind the stage. You couldn't even hear it. So nothing to worry about there. They're large generators. They're easily covered by covering or plants, any of that kind of stuff. We have different options to put them. In fact, you have a lot of trees and we can hide them kind of in there. You won't even hear them. They're they're whisper generators, basically. You won't even hear them. And then the same thing with the noise and the lighting. So lighting is really contained to stage performance. We're using theatrical lighting. We're not using anything out of the norm. We love the fact that you have, the ambient lighting and Christmas lighting around. We're not going to take away from that. So anybody on stage, you will see very well. We'll have a little bit of moving light, that kind of stuff for the audience, but nothing out of the ordinary. In fact, if you look back at some of the pictures, you'll see that we didn't really go outside of the stage area. I guess it is hard to see there, but if you can see that right there, it's kind of just contained on the stage, and that's really it. We didn't want to take away from the existing tree that was in back of us. In back of this area, you can kind of see where Olympia High School is. We have a very large video wall that transmits a lot of light anyway, but again, it's just for images. What we do is we typically have a choir take the stage, and then we talk about the foundation. We talk about the money that's being raised. Then we might play a short video of that foundation and the good work that they're doing while the other choir or group or whoever is getting ready. Then we have our MC introduce, now let's bring up our next act from Olympia High School, the fighting whatever. And then they bring them on stage, and that's kind of how the flow works through the night. At the end of the evening, we kind of, we say star talent, but it's not star talent like star talent. It's basically, Ophi is a great performer. He'll probably do it again this year. He's a Christian artist that out of Utah. He wants to be part of it. He's got a little bit of a following. I think last year at Icon, he brought 30 or 40 people. So he's an up and coming artist, but he's not going to draw 5,000-10,000 people. It's as Camille and as you said, Robert, it's really that 300 to 500 people. I would fair to guess. And that's kind of how the evening flows. At the end of the evening, we just play a little bit of music and videos throughout of the things that we're accomplishing. And then we just shut it down at 9 o'clock.
Okay. And again, this will be Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
With that said, we can, if you have a question, you can type it in the chat box, or if you can, go ahead and raise your hand with the icon, the raise hand icon on your Zoom, and we'll be able to go through those questions. I know the first question came was, what are some of the local charities that you support? And I believe Camille answered that question as far as Matthew's Hope and so on and so forth. So there are local charities that they do support in this area. Yeah. So we have a hand coming up from Jason. Jason, go ahead and unmute.
Hi, how are you guys? Yes, I'd like to know what the town is charging them for this event, the amount.
We do not charge. And the reason for that is the way that we give back to the community and local charities is to waive any fees. If they were to serve alcohol, if they were to require any of our services, meaning public works, then we would, of course, charge them a fee. And if there's any damage after the fact, then we would charge them a fee for that. But again, we have several requests throughout the year for the town to donate money. In lieu of donating money, we donate our town hall or our space. So this would be similar to that. And from what I understand is the foundation that is putting on this event does not take a profit.
That is correct.
And does that include for police services or cleanup, things like that, that would be billed to them at the end of it if there was costs?
Yes, for every special event permit, Public Works will have to sign off on it, as well as the chief of police and myself. So any police presence that, is going to be required. And again, we typically don't require unless there is over 1,000 people or if there's alcohol involved. And also we can probably have some, reserves maybe come by. But again, with a group of maybe 300 to 400 people, and it's mostly church and school choirs, I don't think that's going to generate a large law enforcement presence, but we can probably have somebody there for the times that it's there, and also make sure that they're adhering to what the special event permit is required as far as sound and noise. And then Public Works, if they are requiring anybody for cleanup.
Yeah. And also, Rob, obviously, we are obviously picking up the cost for all of the infrastructure, the restrooms that we're bringing in, all of the things that, that we need to, and any additional law enforcement if we need to. Robert's given us kind of a list of things we would need to take care of. That is not coming out of anybody's budget except for ours. So.
Okay, I'd like to certainly see if there's any other questions besides just me. So.
No worries, Jason. Thank you so much. The
Thanks,
next
Jason.
hand I have raised is Tom Stroop. So Tom, if you want to go ahead. Sorry, I kind of muted you there, buddy. Go ahead and unmute, Tom.
How about now?
Good.
Gotcha.
Yeah, first time zooming on my cell phone. Thank you guys for being so attentive. I am always talking about what goes on in town hall because I am directly affected by it, living right behind it. So I just want to thank you guys for taking so much time to explain it all to us, and for having this workshop, and for being attentive to us that do live right here and are affected by it the most. So thank you very much. And I plan on being there every night.
Awesome. We're looking
Great.
forward to having you, Tom. Absolutely.
Thank
You get VIP tickets.
I don't need that. I'll
We
be able
did
to hear
talk
from
about that
Rob.
actually.
Yeah, and I don't say that about every event because I don't feel like that it's all events are equal, to be honest with you. But I
Right.
think this is a very worthy cause, and I appreciate the effort you guys have put into it.
Yeah, thank you. And we didn't talk about that.
We did.
We do plan to have a VIP section, which, of course, all of the residents that live right around there, we would love to have you drop in that section.
Absolutely.
Meet the charity founders that are there and other VIPs that will be invited, and learn more about, again, what's happening in the area and how we want to give back.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate that. I'm not the VIP type, and I'm too mobile to sit in one place. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else on chat or on video that would like to ask a question? We're back to Jason. So go ahead, Jason.
I do have, so I'm looking at the foundation's website, and the website indicates that it's primarily in the Intermountain region, west of the United States, or Malaysian or Middle Asian countries, South Pacific, Papua New Guinea, Fiji. I guess I'm not finding anything here much on the website that really speaks to what all this great local work that we're doing is. It seems to be a foundation that it doesn't really operate in this area, and maybe only very recently has been doing a little bit of things in Orlando with some charities, but there's really very little information to be found on this. And I think it would be really, good if we had more information as to what this foundation is, what their tie to the area is, why Windermere would be so picked for this event over other areas such as Winter Garden or Icon Park, or even Vernai Drive, where there'd be a lot of people or other communities as well.
Yeah. No, great question, Jason, and thank you for that. Yes, the Aucahand website is very, very focused on our overall picture. We have another website called lightorlando.org, and that one is more focused on what is happening in the local area. I will be very transparent and tell you that we are in the process of updating that right now with some of our events that have happened in the last year. Aucahand has been around for 3 years. Last year in August was when they first hired 2 employees, myself and Troy, who can't be here tonight. And that is when things really started happening in the Orlando area. One of our first events was this concert, which we mentioned we did at Icon Park last year. And one of the biggest things that happened with that is because we are working with local charities, we started out with 18 charities that were involved with that. We found out that most of the people that were at Icon Park were not from Orlando. So therefore wanting to give to those local charities was not there. That said, we did raise $31,000 for those charities at that event. They loved the concert. They loved the choirs that were there. They just didn't want to give. And this is a 2-sided event, one bringing the community together, but also raising awareness and raising funds for these different charities. So that's why this year we wanted to look to bring it into a local area. As I mentioned, the founders do live in Windermere. I think is how Windermere. I think is how you said it, John. They are in that area, as am I. I am in the Hamland area. So we wanted to bring it closer because I'll be honest, driving all the way to Icon Park for 6 nights got exhausting. So we want to bring it into a local community because that is where we are raising awareness. Just to give you some other ideas of what we've done in the last year, last April, we held a spring closet clean out clothing drive where we asked the community to donate clothing. This was the second year that had happened. The foundation then went out and purchased new underwear, bras, feminine hygiene products, diapers. Trying to remember what else we purchased. A lot of different new things, those things that you don't want used. And we worked again with 21 different charities at that time to get all of this used clothing out to them, as well as all of these new items. At the same time, we did a blood drive and a preparedness fair. So lots of different people came out to that event. We did a food drive and brought in a lot of different food for different charities. One of our big events we're working on right now is a concert that we are also working with Red Rocket on that's called Celebrate Christ, that will take place on November 5th at UCF. So we have only been here for a year. We are growing it. The Light Orlando is the title that we're using here in the Orlando area. Aucahand Foundation is our overall foundation that does have stuff happening in the Intermountain West, as well as the Malaysian Islands and Orlando. Thank you, Jason, for bringing that up, and we'll make sure we get our website updated to reflect that.
All right, Camille, we had another question was, how are salaries paid if 100% goes to charities? And I believe that operational costs are included for a not-for-profit.
So there's no salaries included in what goes out to the organizations. This year it actually will not be called a giving machine. It will be called a gifting machine. And how that works is people go out and they use their phone to scan a QR code. They may be selecting food for a family for a week, new bedding for somebody who has been homeless, and there's different dollar amounts that are tied to each one of those items. That goes through just like you would, I call it Amazoning. So you use your phone, you pay for it on your phone. The foundation will cover any of the credit card charges that are associated with that, so that the full amount is then gifted to the charity in the form of a grant. Our salaries are paid through our foundation.
Okay. And then do you have a rating on GuideStar?
We do have a rating on GuideStar. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but we can be found on GuideStar.
All right, thank you. I think I saw Bill's hand raised. Bill Martini.
Yes, thank you, Robert. I'm a little late to the meeting. I had to restart my computer and it wasn't cooperating, but thank you all for being on tonight. I was just looking at the Light Orlando giving machine, and it's got quite a number of charities that are local that we're familiar with: Advent Health, Coalition for the Homeless, Edgewood Children's Ranch, Matthew's Hope, One Heart for Women and Children, etc. Orlando Union Rescue Mission. So Camille, are those all local charities that they've all benefited from your previous concerts, I take it?
Yes, every single one of those charities is local. None of them are anywhere outside of the Orlando metro area.
Okay, thank you. And I may have missed a discussion about this earlier. I understand this is a 5-day concert and was supposed to be 6 days, but we have a wedding at the town hall facility. Are there options for like a 3-day or 2-day concert?
There's not. We really want to do this for 6 days. We have so much interest from the schools wanting to be involved in this, from the churches wanting to be involved in this. I will be honest, our initial idea was to do it for the entire month of December. And after last year, we decided 6 days was definitely long enough. But we do want to do it for the full 6 days, but we understand that Windermere can't accommodate us this year for that. So that would be something we'd be looking at for next year.
Yeah, as you know, we're a pretty we're a pretty small community. So, we have to keep the residents in mind as well when we're booking these types of events, and we don't want to overwhelm our residents with too much at one time. But I've not seen any of your concerts, so I'm sure they're spectacular. But we just have to keep in mind the size of our town, the small area. It's basically a residential area, so we have to be cognizant of that and respectful of the neighbors and the noise level and whatnot. And like I said, I missed the first whole half of the meeting because my computer wasn't working. So you guys may have already covered that.
No problem.
Thank you for your question. But yes, our goal is that this would go 6 days every single year.
Okay, thank you.
And then another question is, so to confirm, 31,000 was donated last year to those local charities?
That is correct.
Jason.
Yeah, okay. So speaking of the impact on the residents in the community, I'm looking at the site map provided. I'm wondering a couple things. First, does this mean we lose the use of the basketball courts for those 5 days with all of the equipment and things going in there? Or do we still residents able to use the amenities? And if we're looking at, let's say 300, 400 people a night, many of them are going to be coming from other areas, driving in from schools, other areas. So where are we putting possibly 250 or so cars and directing the traffic and everything, but particularly where are we parking all those cars?
Yeah, again, that's a great question. That's something that we take a look at from a public works and a safety standpoint as well. That's why we're going to be recommending that they use option 1 for the stage. That would still leave the basketball courts available to be played on, and make sure that there's some sort of security fencing or some sort of netting around the control booth, because I'm sure they're not going to want people walking through that. And again, this gets into 5 to 9 o'clock, and I believe at around 6 o'clock it's starting to get a little dark, and there's no lighting on the basketball court, so I don't think that's going to be really utilized at that time. And the parking, again, we'll have the library parking available, the Fifth and Forest parking available, and then any other overflow parking that we can to accommodate those 300 to 500 people. But again, you're looking at a busy farmers market, pretty much.
Well, I'm really concerned about that because 5 o'clock is prime traffic hour, and we live, here in Windermere. We have to go out and get our kids from the school and we
Right.
fight the traffic every day. And the thought of 300-400 people in school buses trying to come into town at the same time as all these people are passing through the town on the way home from work and school. I'm very much concerned that we're going to have 5 nights of, unfortunately, issues of traffic. I liken it to, we used to live in Celebration. Celebration would do holiday concerts for the town, so to speak, and it would turn into pandemonium mostly. And that's something I would hate to see here in Windermere, that type of craziness go on.
Understood.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason, absolutely. I mean, I totally understand. I mean, I will tell you, I go into Windermere all the time. I love going near the food truck, down there for the food truck thing. And you guys have entertainment down there every once in a while. And the level of cars that are parked around, I don't see this, being any more than that. Like on a Friday night when there's tons of cars parked around, or when you guys do the Halloween thing, I don't see it being any worse than that at all.
Yeah,
It's just
those are one night events, which makes it stomachable. But we're talking 5 nights, which is
no, I understand.
Yeah,
Totally get it.
I would kind of agree with what sort of Bill was mentioning about could this be a 2 maybe 3 night type event? At least if you guys want to do this for multiple years, for the first year, just do it for a couple nights so that we can all get a good feel of what it really is, and then look to expand to a 5 night.
Right. And Jason, it's John with Red Rocket. So you're concerned about going and picking up your kids around 5 or 6 o'clock at night, or
it's an overall concern that the amount of traffic
Right.
load that comes through the town is already out of control. We already have people cutting through dirt roads, through streets.
Yes.
We have a lot of traffic problems, and having
Right.
5 nights more of added things is a main concern to me.
Right. And for an inconvenience because you're coming home from work. I mean, I drive through Windermere every night coming home, every single night, 5 o'clock. And so your concern, I just want to make sure I understand it. So your concern is that there's more people coming through the town of Windermere at 5 or 6 o'clock, and that's going to impact you because of the
I believe my concern is that we will increase the traffic load through the town immensely, and in a time that is already a very heavy load. So whether it's myself, whether it's residents, whether it's visitors, whether it's a fire truck or an ambulance, anything that has to pass through the town for those 5 nights is going to be possibly impacted in that.
Yeah, gotcha.
If I could ask a question, I also drive through Windermere during those hours, and I know that there are a lot of streets that are blocked off, or so that you can't turn on them during those busy hours. Would it be possible for those to be opened up for residents to cut through? I'm just throwing that out there.
That would be illegal.
Okay. Just wanted to ask.
But yeah, no, it's a valid concern. We have a lot of traffic through town, that we are experiencing from, some of those people that live in Hamlin or, West Orange County. But yeah, that's a valid concern. There is going to be added traffic, and then you have to weigh, the added traffic versus the potential benefits of having a charitable concert within the town limits. There has been a question again, can you limit it to 2 or 3 nights? And I think the promoters have said no, that the bare minimum they could do is 5 nights. They typically do 6 nights. So again, that's something that they would have to consider if the town council wasn't going to approve a 5-night event, but that is what they're asking for, and that's what they're saying that their need is. So again, is it an inconvenience? Yes. Are we trying to mitigate those as much as possible? Absolutely. But again, that's why we're having these public input meetings, so we can get your concerns and see what we can do to alleviate those if we even can. And I can tell you right now that the traffic, we probably can't. You know, if the students are bussed in, does that take some cars off the road? Yes, but will it take the cars off the road for the parents and grandparents? Probably not. So it would be, again, 5 nights of inconvenience. So David?
Yes, so for the people coming for the concert, it is from 5 to 9. And so everyone's not arriving right at 5 o'clock. So if your child's going on at 7 o'clock, you're getting them there at 6:30. Your family members may show up right in time for them to watch the event. So it isn't going to be, you know, all the performers all showing up, all hanging out. So that will alleviate some of that additional of the 300 to 500 people attending. You know, they're going to come in, they're going to hang out, their kid's going to sing, they're going to give them flowers. Hopefully they grab a cup of coffee or ice cream and they're going to leave. So I think that will help a little bit. But yes, if everybody was coming in for a true concert that was starting at 5 p.m. to go from 5 to 9, then we would have a mad rush. You know, I brought that up to the team, you know, knowing that, you know, whoever's performing at 5, they need to make sure they come into town around 4. So if that helps.
Yeah, David, that's a great point. That's exactly right. And thanks for mentioning that. They do stagger when they come. So it's totally true.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns from the residents that are on tonight? Again, this is being recorded. I know we have the meeting tomorrow night to see if council will approve this or not.
I do have one other question.
Yes, sir.
For all the local groups that will be invited, I just want to make sure there is no fee being charged to any of the school groups or anything, any expectations of any monetary items from them to be on the stage.
No, absolutely not. In fact, our goal is to give back to them. And so we do give back to them. I'm not at liberty to go into the detail on that. But if you ask any of the schools that performed last year, they would indicate that yes, it was a benefit for them to be there, and a great opportunity. The feedback that we received from most of the schools was that this was such a phenomenal opportunity for their kids to get out and perform in public, because so many people were not coming to their Christmas concerts the last couple of years. And they are already knocking at my door wondering when we are going to open this up. And we only have space for less than 30 choirs. And I've already got people asking me when it's going to happen, but we're holding off until we know where we are doing this at, because that will impact how many choirs that we can have available.
Is it is it just choirs, or is it things like, could there be a band involved, or
no
equipment trucks for certain choir instruments, things like that?
No, we've kept it to, when it comes to the school choirs and the community choirs, we have kept it solely to choirs, with the only thing being used is either a keyboard or recorded sound. And the reason for that is a lot of it is transition. We have a very quick transition between each one of those choirs singing. And so if we have to change the setup on the stage, that takes time away from it. So we have risers, we have a electronic keyboard, or they use pre-recorded music involved with that. Our professional performers, last year, they all used pre-recorded music. They didn't bring any bands or anything, other than Ophi did have his guitar, as you can see in the pictures. And let me point out that one of the great things about that's going to happen again this year, Ophi has confirmed he will be there on Thursday night. Daniel Emmett is also another performer. He will be there on Friday night. Both of those individuals went out and worked with the local schools during the day, their choirs. They have their choirs, the choirs then perform with them. And those relationships have been maintained. Daniel actually was invited to come and speak at the commencement of the school that he worked with out in Mount Verde. And Ophi has continued to have a relationship with Apopka High School as well. So,
and one other question, I know some people may not be reading that chat log on the side, but Catherine had asked about confirming the 31,000 was donated to those local charities. Are you referencing, was that 31,000 from the light event last year, or was that 31,000 in total that the ACMED Foundation had donated overall?
No, that was 31,000 that the community members donated using our giving machine that was given to those individual charities.
And did the foundation also do a donation to those charities then?
They did.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any other questions or concerns from the members at large? Okay. Seeing none, we will see the council members there tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Town Hall for the budget workshop and for the discussion relative to the special event permit. If it should be approved, I'm sure that they're going to go ahead and move forward with advertising. And then we'll see how it goes this December. But thank you all for joining, and thank you to Red Rocket Studios, as well as the foundation for attending tonight to answer some of the questions. And this again will be recorded, so we can go ahead and share it on our YouTube page. And with that said, I will just tell you all, thank you very much for attending tonight, and we will see some of you tomorrow night.
Great.
Thank you,
Robert.
everyone.
Very much.
Thank you so much, Robert, for
See you.
making this happen.
Thank you all.